Back to the channel, guys, and today we are back on with the SCANIA 143. So some of you guys have been absolutely screaming at me for an episode on this old SCANIA, so today is that day. We are going to be getting a few jobs done on this vehicle today and over the next coming days, and there will be various videos uploaded over the coming weeks on this vehicle. We are now back on with this project. We are on and off it with other projects, but we will start to commence with some real good progress on this now. So to start with, guys, we are going to be dealing with this front bumper, and as you remember from previous episodes, that front bumper is full of all old rusty steel shot, which is the way they weighted these bumpers down back in the day, just filled with all sorts of old nuts and bolts and ball bearings, steel ball bearings and all that sort of stuff. Over the years that has all rusted together and is now just one big completely rusty mess all stuck inside that front bumper. So that is the first thing we're going to be dealing with. We need to get that emptied so that we can crack on and get some fabrication work done on that front bumper, and then we'll move on and start to get some other bits and bobs done on this truck. So stay tuned, guys, let's crack on. So I've just chopped a big hole out of this bumper. You see in there now, that is what it's been weighted with in the past. You can see it's all rusted together and formed one massive big clump. So what I'm going to try and do here now is we've got to stack a truck out, we've got a scrap bin. I'm going to try and dangle this over the scrap bin and beat the living hell out of this with a lump hammer or a sledgehammer and try and break all this up and get all this old rusty crap out of this bumper so we can start to do the restoration process on this front weighted bumper and get it all sorted out. Stranger's back on the channel, destroying stuff, doing what he loves doing best. Thought you weren't scared. That is one heavy lump. I'm talking about the bumper. I'm gonna get straight. Be right. That full lift? Is that all of it? Aye. Is that full lift, yeah? Full lift, that. That's a lot to fall in, no, it's not. Stand on that wall, beat the life out of it with a sledgehammer. Dry stuff coming out, but there's a massive chunk of stuff. in there, that, isn't it? Probably some big clumps that are rusted together. That's in there. Right, I was going to lower it down, drop it on the floor, give it some smacks with the hammer while it's easier to get to, and then spin the chain around so that the front of the bumper's pointing towards us, so we think what's happening is that all the rust is building up behind these holes, because there's tubes that go right through the bumper there and there, so I think it's all sort of backing up against them tubes, so I need to try and flip it over so that the rust can come out of this end rather than building up behind these tubes. We don't want that chisel back.
Definitely lighter than it was.
Looks lighter. It barely even swung before, did it? You got any tilt?
Watch out of the way, man.
Definitely lighter, so I can move it. Go on. Yeah. Just lift it up a bit. Start driving backwards, I'll follow you with the pallet. The bumper is very heavy on one side, so Glenn being the heaviest out of the two, we've decided he's the best counterbalance. He's counterbalancing it very well indeed. So that is the front bumper now in the workshop. It's not in the best of condition, to be honest with you, but obviously making a new one of these from scratch is going to be a mammoth task, so we are stuck with working with what we've got. So we're going to do our best with this, make it look as good as we can, and just do what we can with it just to make it solid. So I'll go around it, show you what we're going to be doing. I've got little bits like this on the end. There's a couple of holes there, so we're going to be cutting this end cap off, putting a new end cap on there. This end cap isn't too bad, but it has got a small hole in it, so we'll be cutting that off and doing the same there, new end cap on there. There is a couple of creases in here, so we're going to be straightening this up the best we can. As you can see there now, it is emptied. That was a bit of a challenge getting all that out of there, but we got there in the end. So we're going to be straightening bits like this up. This bottom edge is also got a few dings in it and a few dents, so we're going to be hammering these straight. We're going to be getting these old brackets off like that. They're no longer needed, so we'll be getting these off. This bracket here can also come off. That looks like it's had some sort of an old mud flap or something on it. We are going to be putting some flaps back under this, and we'll be fabricating new brackets for that. Obviously this bracket is absolutely mangled, so that's going to be coming off. I've also got to make some new blanking caps for the back of here. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is weld these up solid. This is where you would have filled it with the steel shot what was in it originally. However, we are going to be filling this with concrete when it's back on the truck. So I think what I'll do is I'll end up welding these shut, and I'll be making a new inspection hole or filling hole from the top. The top side is actually under there at the moment. The bumper is upside down because the majority of the work is underneath. And also I need to put a plate in here. This was corroded, as I've shown on previous videos. Now, because it was corroded, it had to be chopped out anyway, so I made a nice large hole there for us to get all the contents out of this bumper. It just made life a lot easier rather than trying to get it out of this hole in the back. So there's that to do. Fabricate and weld a piece in there. Again, coming around this side, I've got a few dings and dents and creases, stuff that all wants hammering flat, straightening up. There's a load of old filler in this side that's going to be getting chipped out, and then the rest of it is pretty much solid. Just some dints and stuff that Tom can deal with once I finish with the fabrication work. So that's what we're going to be on with, guys, on this episode. So let's crack on. Let's start to chop these end caps off and make some new ones and get them welded in. Right, so we've got these end caps welded on. It's come out pretty good. I've just give these welds a quick grind back. It does want a final dressing up, but that is almost pretty much as good as it's going to get. So that's both sides done. I've cut all the brackets off, as you've seen there, the old flaps. I've just ground some of the welds down from them old brackets. I've took the old marker light brackets off the front as well. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to have a little bit of a hammer and dolly session, trying to straighten out some of these kinks what are in this bumper, and along this edge there as well. You can see it's all wavy, so I'm going to try and straighten some of this up. The bumper really could do with shot blasting again. We did have it blasted originally, but it was on the truck, so the shot blast couldn't get behind the bumper. But we might have to come back to that at a later date and get this thing shot blasted, but for now we're just going to have to hand prep it and do what we can do with it, do it to the best of our abilities. So once I have had a little bit of a dollying session along these edges and got these as flat as I possibly can, and then going to get the bumper bracket which fits on there. That's got a couple of cracks in it now. That will actually fit in my shot blasting cabinet, which is over here. So I'm going to put that in the blast cabinet, give it a good shot blasting up, and then I can assess the welds properly, make sure there's no other cracks that I haven't seen that are hidden with rust or paint or whatever, and then we'll get that bracket welded up. Once we've got that bracket welded up, then hopefully we can turn our attention back to some more of the fabrication work on this bumper, mainly being this big hole here. So let's do that. Let's get this dollied up, let's get this bracket shot blasted and see what we're like for time after that. Right, so that is the bumper bracket blasted. There is still a few little bits on this that I couldn't get off. The shot blaster's playing up a little bit at the minute. I think it might actually be running out of blast media, so we'll have to get some more ordered. But the stuff that was on there, that red paint, was like rock solid. I don't know whether that's been powder coated or something at some point, but yeah, it was really difficult to get off that. So there is a few little bits that are still left in it, but I got sort of 99% of it off. Now as you can see there is a crack, runs all the way through, so we're going to have to deal with that. And pretty much the same on the other side there, a split there as well. It's going to have to be welded up, so we'll grind all this out, V it out a little bit, we'll get a nice weld in there, and then we'll probably plate this up and put some strength back into it. So that is something we'll be coming back to in the very near future. Before I continue with this edge here, there's a little bit of work needs doing there, but I would like to get this section welded in before we continue on with straightening this edge up. There is a little bit of a soft spot there as well, so this is going to need a little bit of work. Now, because this is already cut out, it just makes sense now to continue this cut and cut it off all the way up here, and then just put one big piece in that whole section. Again, this does need shot blasting ideally, but whether we'll get around to doing that or not, I don't know. We'll have to speak to the shot blaster and see if he's available. If not, we'll just have to prep this up the best we can with descaling, needle guns, Y wheels on the grinders and all that sort of stuff, and just strip this back the best we can. There'll be a little bit of, or quite a lot of work involved in doing that, but needs must, it is what it is. It's got to be done. So one way or another, that bumper will get cleaned up and treated before it gets painted. Now, I think one of the next things we're going to be doing, won't be on this episode, guys. We are running out of time today. Is I want to get this truck out, so there's quite a lot of stuff here that needs to be moved out of the way. So we need to have a bit of a clear out, shift all this stuff out of the way, and then I would like to get the truck out from this corner, get it out the building, give it a right good washing off, because it's been sat here now for around 12 months, so it has gathered quite a lot of dust, and ideally I could do with getting on that side of the bodies. Reason being, I'll show you now. Basically, I need to get to all these side cabinets. I have a bit more room to be able to open all these doors properly. First off is, obviously we need to get all this wiring finished, which is a bit of a mess at the minute. So hopefully Glenn will get a bit of free time to crack on with that wiring in the very near future. But what I need to do is get all these seals in these locker bodies done. I have done the other side, but I do need a little bit more room around here to get in and get all this done. We need to clean up all these door shuts and everything. There's a couple of little bits of touch-ups in there to do as well. And mistakenly as well, when I put these locker doors on and the handles on, I've just realised I've actually fitted one upside down. So I do need to take one of these off and flip that the correct way. And again, all these locker bodies down here just need the same really. All the seals doing on the door and on the frame. So yeah, I would like to get, ideally, this truck outside, give it a good washing off. As you can see there is just mountains and mountains of dirt on this truck now. So I want to get it out, give it a good wash. So yeah, I think that is going to be one of the next things we're going to be doing. But as I was saying, guys, I have run out of time for today. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I know you guys have been screaming for an episode on this Scania 143. It is only a small update, but it is progress. We are getting back on with this truck now. There will be more videos coming in the following weeks on this vehicle. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. As always, guys, drop us some comments. Let us know what you think of this build so far. Please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you all on the next video.